So today is another day of hauling fertilizer, spraying, running the Cultivating rig. We've been waiting on this to plow it. This ground was just hard as a brick, and we received some rain. So now this plow should be able to take the ground good. We're gonna go through and try to get some of this volunteer cotton out of the way. We got some pigweed growing here. This farm was sprayed this morning. That stuff's had time to settle in and soak into the plants. Sprayed this with Liberty foliar feed and some Radiate. Pretty little crop. This one is running a little bit behind. You can tell the size of this crop is not very big. It's bushy, but it is replanted cotton, probably later May, somewhere in there. But you can see all the volunteer cotton out in it. So that's what our goal is to take that out. So we got some really pretty cotton right here. This cotton is stunted a little bit. Had some pretty bad storms on it. Had some hail on it just the other day. No blooms or any of that happening yet. Missing some positions, I believe, on these bottoms. Cotton's short. Just getting some squares in it. But tap roots look healthy. It's just young cotton. It's not as old as the rest of it. Kind of short and squatty. Plow is running really pretty. Looks really good. We've got a lot of volunteer and just kind of trash out in the middle of those rows. We're after with that plow. Right there is a good example. Just got a bunch of volunteer cotton everywhere you look. Been running around 6 miles an hour, and it's plowing beautiful. Boy, it looks good. It's getting all that volunteer, cleaning the rows out really nice. Now we're still gonna have some weeds and stuff left over, obviously, because we're not plowing exactly, we're not plowing broadcast. So there'll still be weeds left out here. A lot of volunteer cotton, you can see just all scattered throughout. This one row is really bad right there. That's where our burr extractor shelled out cotton from last year. But sure, shaping this field up, making it look a lot prettier. Really nice. Roller cone plow, roller cone shanks. It's got 3 shanks in the hard row and 1 in the narrow row with a 24-inch sweep on a 30-inch row. So pretty tight. But it sure makes it look good, and if you're gonna go slow and use GPS, why not plow it tight? Might be wondering, like, why do we plow? What's the reason? Really not plowing for weeds, mainly just get the volunteer out of the row. The weeds, these weeds have been sprayed, they're dead. They're still green, but they're going down today. So plowing this cotton is not really doing anything else other than taking the volunteer cotton out of it. Volunteer can be a really big nuisance with growing cotton, because if it's not exactly in the row, the cotton stripper will kick it out, and it really makes your fields look shaggy and ugly whenever you're harvesting your cotton. And you hate to just those volunteer cottons are going to take away from your crop. There's no doubt. They're using moisture just like the cotton that's in the row. So if you take those out, that just allows just the cotton in the row that's a harvestable stock to utilize the nutrients, utilize the moisture that other stock would be robbing. So essentially, volunteer cotton is essentially just a weed. It's got tolerances to Liberty, dicamba, Roundup, all the chemicals and herbicides we use to kill weeds. That volunteer cotton will not die. So the only way to do it is to manually take it out or to run a hooded sprayer, which I am not geared up for a hooded sprayer. And these cultivators run pretty simple, pretty cheap. So generally every year we just plow the worst fields that we have of volunteer and just do what I'm doing right now. Just plow that cotton out and just turn it and make it look really nice, really pretty, and get weeds while we're doing it. So we're not constantly having to fill up chemical, we're not having to purchase chemical, we're just purchasing fuel, time, and labor. So with plowing cotton that narrow and that tight, you really have to have your plow set really good. So this, you might be thinking, well, how do you set your plow if it's a rigid shank hammy? That was the purpose, to put hammy shanks on it. So all the shanks are the same length, got the same bow, the same pitch, the same everything. And that way you don't get one shank running deeper or one shank running shallower, because here in West Texas in the past, all our cultivators had 1x3 shanks that go straight up and down, and you can slip them up and down and adjust the depth of each individual shank. I've ran a rigid shank cultivator, or a normal cultivator, not a rigid shank one, and they can be a real booger to set. You hit something, one shank falls down, all of a sudden your plow's running crooked. It's just a pain. So the purpose of getting this with rigid shanks is all the shanks have to run on the same plane, the same levelness, and as you can tell, it's running really pretty, but it's really easy to set because you just have a gauge wheel on this side and a gauge wheel on the other side to set the left and right of the plow, so you don't get too much crabbing going on, because you can't get too much side draft. You can't get this plow running crooked like this. It's got to pull square to the tractor, or you will plow up cotton either on this side or that side. There is no adjustment within the shanks, so it's just off your gauge wheels and on the trim and nudge of your GPS to make it follow right in path of where it needs to be. So on a side note of cultivating, this pivot got stuck down here last night. We have the hoses right here closest to the pivot turned off. That way it don't get stuck. But it just got a sandbar up in it. It's not stuck that bad. Yeah, we can pull that right out. We've been waiting on this field. The other day we were running both cultivators up north. Well, we were running every which way. But we left this particular farm. We pulled over here and started plowing, and it was so hard. We were missing a lot of volunteer cotton. It was just rattling, running right on top of the ground. So we thought, well, we'll let this pivot that's stuck right now in the milo, we'll let the pivot go in a full circle, and we'll water this ground a little. Then our plow, it'll plow beautiful. So we came over here, we watered, and threw out a little fertilizer on this cotton, and popped it right back over into the milo, and then we got an inch of rain. So it's like, oh, scramble, hurry, before this cotton, before the volunteer cottons get too big. So right now is really the perfect time to plow it, but it should have been done a couple days ago. Well, and just like that, got the whole field plowed. Looks good. Cotton looks prettier after it's been cultivated. Got some weeds knocked out of there. Got some volunteer cotton knocked out of there. We got our pivot pulled out of the mud. Got quite a bit of fertilizer hauled today. That's what Cheeto's been doing. And Albert's been running the Coulter rig. I appreciate y'all watching my videos. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Appreciate it.